Thank you for joining us for episode 57 of Sold with Updike Pugh.
I'm Jeff Updike.
I'm Weston Pugh. If that is any indication of what you're in store for you, it's going to be a great show
today.
Oh, mercy.
Oh, wow.
What a weekend.
What a weekend. It was crazy.
If you were a UT or a Cowboy fan, I'm sorry, but there was probably a tear in your beer at the end of this weekend.
Yeah, this was it was just a slow weekend overall. I mean, we were a little busy because we were kind of wrapping up things that we were working on last week, and we got a really cool townhome under contract.
Right, one of the last ones.
It was the last one at that City Line development. That if you haven't been to the City Line development, it is really going on out there.
Totally changed. I mean, 12 restaurants basically within walking distance. There's a Whole Foods, and our clients were literally thinking they could almost downsize into one car.
Yeah, and there's yoga there, free yoga outdoors on the weekend. They have free concerts. It's a great area.
It is.
And the other house we got under contract was really, that was like the Cinderella deal.
It was because the shoe just fit. It wasn't on the market, and our buyers had been looking and did a little digging and came up with a really great property. You actually reached out and got the seller to let us in early, and it all just kind of worked, and we were able to get it under contract for them. So we're excited for that one as well.
Yeah, everybody's happy in that one.
Everybody's happy. We did do an open house, and that's a great way for us to segue into the next property, or our first property, because it's 2722 Ninth Street that we had open this weekend, and it's unit 316, and this is an area that's inside of Oaklawn, and almost as in the heart of Oaklawn as you can be.
Yeah,
really.
It is such a walkable neighborhood, and there is everything you need right there within a quarter mile. There are great restaurants. There are great shopping. I mean, talk about shopping options there. Kroger, you have two different Krogers. You've got the Whole Foods. It's a wonderful little neighborhood.
The other thing too about this one is that it's close enough to the proximity to UT Southwestern and to Parkland that if you're either going to school there or your residency, this actually is within that bubble that they like to be within 5 minutes of the school to start their rounds for those early morning sessions. The other thing too is if you're commuting, Love Field is probably $4 Uber, $7 Uber drive.
Oh yeah, easy.
Yeah, and this is a great one. This one is actually a 2-bedroom, 2.5 bath. It's 2,100 square feet. And what's great about this condo is that it's gated when you park, and then it's additionally gated just to get into this courtyard.
Yeah, and this one's got such a sense of arrival to it. You walk up to these doors, and when they open, you really get to experience this great, really wide open living space. There is great flexibility there. The kitchen, the dining room, the living room, just really, however you want to arrange it, you can.
What we like about this one is that also downstairs, there's another bedroom, and in the next picture, we'll see it down the hall right there on the left-hand side. But this configuration also, you could leave the couch here if you're having a bunch of people over, but you could also turn it around and make it more intimate and locate the TV on multiple walls if that's something that you were into.
And the kitchen is really well done. It's got stainless steel appliances, the St. Cecilia granite. It's got this really cool tile on the backsplash that you don't see usually in this price point, but it's done really well.
And the lighting in here is amazing. So you've got undermount cabinet lights, recessed cans throughout, and it just gives it a light and bright area. If you're looking to keep it uncluttered, right there to the left of the fridge is a great place to keep the coffee maker or other appliances and still have that modern, clean look that so many buyers are looking for these days.
And this vinyl is carried throughout the entire home. This is the room that's on the back of the home that could really be a third bedroom. They use it as an office, but it's got a half bath attached. The laundry room is there. That set of, you can only see one, but there's a double door. that opens to a courtyard.
And the master bedroom actually has vaulted ceilings and is large enough that you could do a king size with nightstands on the other side. And these double doors actually open up to a balcony walkway. Great for, they've set out potted plants and seating. This also is the secondary bedroom that also has vaulted ceilings, and they've actually enclosed the doorway all the way, which isn't always done in the other units, to create a true 2 full bedrooms.
And as part of the HOA in this, you get this fantastic outdoor area. It is kind of the Palm Springs style pool. It is, great furniture. It has this covered outdoor space with the grills and tables and seating, and you get one covered assigned parking space and one uncovered assigned.
Yep. So 2722 Knight Street, 316, 2 bedroom, 2.5 bath, 2 parking spaces. Comes in at $250, and that's $206.27 a square foot. Great house, great condo, great area. If you'd like to see that or get more information, please let us know, and we'll be happy to open it up for you.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity for somebody, and I know the last one that we tried to put together in here for sale. The property met all the Fannie Mae guidelines, which means you can do as little as 5%. Actually, you can do as little as 3% down.
Yep, it's a great one. Now, before we start any of the slides for the next one or even the map, the next one is 9414 Lake Highlands, and this one you guys are gonna have to bear with us, because there's so much to talk about that we are going to be hitting the ground running on this one. This is an amazing location, Jeff.
Yeah, this is on what is called the peninsula. The peninsula is this little segment of land that comes into the it is on the eastern side of White Rock Lake, but it kind of pretty much all of it faces out to the lake there. And there are a limited number of homes that actually face onto the lake. I think it's in the 20s.
In the 20s.
And
they don't come on the market.
They don't. This is a really great opportunity. And the way this builder has positioned this on the lot, you have the Bathhouse Cultural Center right there.
Black land grass is protected directly in front of you.
Yep.
Which means nothing will be built there.
And it is one of those really quiet streets. When we were out there previewing this, there were multiple groups of cyclists that go by, and it is just the coolest sound when you've got a group of 12 people coming by. It's just kind of like this little...
Yep. And Janice gave us a tour of the neighborhood. One of the amazing things about this neighborhood is that it really is a get to know your neighborhood with 268 homes in that. She said that they have a firework, 4th of July. They watch the fireworks together from the lake. And then they also have a dog parade. And then they also have a block party that has barbecue and a band. And she said that for the vegans, they have vegan barbecue. So I don't know what that is. You'd have to buy this house to find out.
Right. So 9414 Lake Highlands has such a dramatic drive up to it.
Amazing.
It is fantastic. The mixture of materials that this builder has used between the steel, the wood, the brick, the stone, it is just fantastic. You've got parking here for almost 8 spaces.
And on the inside, they've carried on the brick as well on columns and on the wall and the TV, and opened up the space and given it what today's buyers are truly looking for, an all-encompassing main room that blends dining, living, and the kitchen.
Yeah, so this is a double wide bar. So you've got lots of storage underneath that on both sides of it. This is a full Thermador appliance package with the double door fridge freezer over there, wine cooler. It's got everything.
And the thing that they've done here is they've mixed the oak floor. So I believe it's red and white oak that they've mixed with this beautiful matte finish. And you can see in the ceiling, they've continued the detailing with the actual oak as well. It just is so warm.
And this office is right off of the entryway there. They've carried that stone that they've used in the kitchen into the built-ins in here. These 2 windows open up to the front of the house. It's just really cool.
The master bedroom is downstairs along with another bedroom, and this one actually opens up to a covered patio. And so from your bed, you can actually see the fireplace. Tons of great space for art as well. A really great location and size.
And the master bath has these amazing terrazzo floors in it. It has the quartz countertops, double vanity, big walk-in shower, the architectural hexagonal tub, and Delta fixtures.
Upstairs, what I love about this living space is that it's so huge and it kicks out onto this amazing covered patio that doesn't have an actual pony wall but glass. The 3 bedrooms upstairs, 2 of them are en suite, and the other one has that full bath that opens up to this area. Makes it so flexible and so usable.
And the outdoor space in the back is, again, amazing. You have the fireplace out there. You have the built-in gas grill, and this patio is much bigger than it appears to be in this picture. The master bedroom opens to that as well.
And if you needed a pool, this has plenty of space for a pool. If you're cool with just using no water and just keeping this thing as is with the turf grass, it is a perfect situation. Also, a pretty good private backyard to boot.
Yep, and 9414 Lake Highlands is a 5-bedroom, 4 full bath, 2 half bath, priced at $1,485,000, which is $352 a square foot, and it's just a phenomenal property.
And it is listed by Janice Parson, and it is amazing. This house is worth the go-see, and is an open house this Sunday from 1:30 to 3. I know that we have clients that we've already notified about this, and are hoping that they'll show some interest in it, and they'll get out there to that.
Yeah, it is a kind of a one. It's one of those once in a lifetime homes.
It is because of that location. So many times you're in Dallas and you feel like you're in Dallas, and this is one of those times when it feels like you're living out in the country because of that grassland in front of you. I can't stress that enough. It was
Fantastic
amazing.
opportunity. And thank you to Janice for letting us talk about her home.
Yep.
Our next home today, we're going to zip over to the North Dallas area, and this is in pretty much the heart of Preston Hollow. 6231 Del Norte is the address. And this is a really cool, original, traditional home that has had a lot of care taken to it and is really move-in ready.
And this location is one of the areas that I actually purchased back here, and I love the area because I love the proximity to actually getting to work, but also I had both the connectors, 75 and the toll road, which I could get. If one of them had an accident, I had the transition to get to the other one. The other thing too is if you just run out 12, you can see right there, a little below the icon, that actually transitions into 183 and gets you to the Dallas airport, which is an international airport. So a lot of times people don't realize it, but Dallas has a lot of I'm losing the word.
Yeah, you really
nonstop flights.
Nonstop flights.
Yep.
And this is, it's one of the things you learn after living in Dallas for a long time is Northwest Highway really goes from one side of the city to the other.
Oh, yeah.
If there's something wrong on Northwest Highway, you zip north up to Walnut Hill, and Walnut Hill runs from one side of the city all the way out to Valley Ranch. So
I've taken 12 all the way from Oak Lawn, all the way up.
Yeah, it's really a great location. The home itself is just a charm to see. The drive up is really nice. It's got a great setback on the lot. It does have the gated access on the side, and it's one of those houses that's kind of a front porch house.
Yep. And when you walk in, you get this great family room that they've set up, and using it more as a formal. One of the things that I noticed immediately when we walked in is that the floors were in immaculate condition. So they are original, but they have been meticulously cared for and handled.
And you've got 2 dining room spaces in this. This is the formal dining room, and they have the upgraded light fixtures. I think this is from Arteriors, if I'm not mistaken. And it's still open enough that it's got that I guess open feel, but then you flow into this kitchen.
And the kitchen's great because you get a window over the sink that looks into the backyard. And then the other thing too is that if you wanted to do a little updating with the cabinets, you could take those up and have even more space than you've already got right now.
Yep, KitchenAid appliances, again, the St. Cecilia granite that's used in these. This is the breakfast area that is just off of the dining room there. And this all opens up into a really cool family room that was added on at some point.
Yep, and the family room is enormous, and it's still pier and beam, which is amazing right now. It has built-ins in the far end, and I believe that this is a 14 by 26, which actually is amazing because it allows you to have 2 different seating areas. So if you needed to have a place for little ones and then this, it would work out.
And this is the office that's on the front of the house. You have access to this directly directly from the foyer and then also off of the hallway. It's got a great closet in it. Again, the recessed can lighting, wood floors.
Master bedroom is located at the back of the house and does not abut any of the other bedrooms, so it's great for privacy and sleeping in. It does have dual closets, and then what we love again is that we have large bathroom on this one.
Yeah. And the bathroom is well done with the double vanities. It's got 4x4 white tile in it. It is a bathroom that was probably remodeled, I don't know, within the last 10 years or so, but it was really done very nicely. And again, the house is move-in ready.
And you have a detached garage at the end of the driveway, and this yard is large enough for that if you wanted to put a fridge in, it would, or a pool in, it would be perfect for that as well. Again, very private backyard, which makes the pool that much better.
And it's 6231 Del Norte Lane, 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, priced at $779. That brings it in about $344 a square foot. 2 things I'd like to mention about that house also. One is the roof was replaced
Right.
about 60 days ago, and the HVAC system was replaced within the last 14 to 15 months.
Yep, it's amazing. And this one is listed by Garrett Holloway, and I want to say thank you so much to Garrett for allowing us to highlight your home on our show.
Thank you, Garrett. We appreciate it.
Well, if you have questions about any of these homes, you can always contact us through the traditional way on our Facebook page. You can text or email us, or you can jump in to the show itself and make comments at any time. We'd love to hear from you.
Absolutely. And so what are we going to talk about today in our second segment?
Second segment. So today you and I had an interesting morning because we had to divide and conquer. You actually ran to a closing for our clients that closed over in the Sorrento.
Yep.
And then I ran to East Dallas and went to the Chamber of Commerce economic update. And so to kind of put the two together, you pulled some information out of MLS to help our viewers get an idea of what's going on in the real estate market right now, because right now everybody's wondering what is going on.
Yeah, and this, it's a really good time of the year to kind of get a market update. And so I've brought 5 slides in for you today, and I promise not to get too geeky about them, but
Good luck.
Yeah, but I had this narrowed down to the top 15 slides to show you today,
And I whittled it down to 5.
And Weston whittled them for you. So let's go ahead and pop into our first one, and I've set these up. This is the number of closed sales year to date over the last 5 years, just to kind of show you how the market's going. And so as you start on the left, that is January of 2014. And you can see that trend of month by month, where in January you close about 5,000 transactions a month. And then you ultimately make it up to about between 10 and 15,000 a month in the peak of the year. And then as the end of the year starts coming back down, you see it come back down to around that 5,000 a month. But the last set there, you can see where we closed just over 12,000 transactions, and that was at the peak of the market, which was going to be in June and July of this year. So the number of transactions is still, even though we hear people talk about the slowing in the market, the number of transactions is still there.
And I think it's interesting because the blue lines that we're seeing right there are all of MetroTex. And isn't that right?
Yes, it's all of the blue lines we're seeing there are all of our MLS.
And so tell us how far our MLS goes.
Well, our MLS is a very large regional MLS. We have information on our MLS goes from Abilene to Longview, and almost all the way up to really all the way up to the Oklahoma border, and then down very close to Waco.
Yep.
So geographically, it's a really large MLS.
And so when you see those graphs, the blue is the entire geographic area that you're talking about, and the red is actually Dallas. And you can see in so many of those graphs and the ones that we're going to see how Dallas actually fares better than does the entire geographic
MLS
area.
as a whole. Yeah, absolutely. Let's jump on to our second slide, because I think you'll find this one interesting too, and it's the median sales price. And this, I've only broken this up into the last 2 years, and you can see how, like the beginning of 2018, the median sales price for the Dallas area was about $215,000, and then toward the peak of the market, it gets all the way up close to the $275,000 price point. And then it begins to come back down during the slower season. And it's really more about the seasonality of sales. One of the things I want to point out this year is you'll see that on the red line to the right, where the median price fell very sharply, and that was between the month of July and August, and it's recovered a bit. If you were to level that out just a bit, it's running about the same as what it was last year. So our median, we've kind of got where our median price now is really only going to be increasing by 3 to 4% a year on an annual basis.
And that's actually when I'll talk about the East Dallas thing, that percentage that you just talked about was actually reiterated in the economic update as well.
Okay.
So it's jiving. The numbers are working out.
Yep. So let's jump into slide number 3 if we can. This is the inventory of homes for sale, and this is a really good indicator of the pace of the market. And you'll see that in January of 2018, we had about 22,000 homes on the market. At the peak of 2018, we had somewhere between 30 and 35,000. And this year in the peak of the market, we've had a little over that. I think we peaked out at about 37,000 homes on the market at one time. And so the inventory is definitely growing. It's not growing at a super fast pace, but that is one of the things that I think is going to level out some of the price increases that have been occurring in our marketplace.
Exactly. That pricing increase that we've seen over the last 5 years, that hyperinflation really has been limited down to what you said, about 3%.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So let's jump into the 4th slide. And this is the month's supply of inventory, and this is a really good indicator that a lot of economists look at. And the thought is that if you have about 6 months worth of inventory, it's a balanced market. If you have less than that, then it means there's not enough homes for sale. And we're beginning to see that months of inventory climb a bit. We're still in what is considered to be a seller's market, but you can see that there's also that downward seasonal trend that's occurring, where the inventory is going down. There are still people that are out there buying houses this time of year. And so, a lot of investors come into the market late in the year because they need to have money into something before the end of the year. And it's still a very, very healthy market.
And one of the things that we've always kind of talked about a little bit during the fall market is that if you don't want to get caught up in being on the market with everybody else during the spring market, this is sometimes a really good time to throw that house out there and get it on the market in a situation where competition is really off, and you still have buyers that are looking and have to move. And so you'll be surprised at what happens. We've had some great Decembers before.
Yeah, and we've had, I think we've got 3 really good homes that are going to be coming on in the next 30 to 40 days that, the people know that they're coming on at the holiday market, but for, whatever reason, they have a reason that they need to sell, and they know it's just not as competitive out there right now. So let's jump into our last slide if we can, and this is the median percent versus the original price. So this is the sales price the list price versus what it actually sold for. And as you can see, in the peak of the market last year, the sellers were getting in a median way almost 99% of what they were asking, and that is a really, really, I think, a really strong seller's market where you're getting that kind of that close to list. But now you can see this year where that's not happening quite as much, and it's their MLS wide, they got about 98% of list. In the Dallas County area, they got about 97 to 98% of list. So.
And this is one of those times when it's really key to pulling comps to be sure that you're using comps that are the best comps, and really understand that the market is not always in that ascension that we've seen before.
Yeah, it's
or you could get stuck.
Yeah, and I think even a lot of appraisers right now are beginning to appraisers can't really use the direction of the market in terms of an appraisal, but
Shouldn't.
I'm sure they've got to have it in the back of their mind when they're starting to appraise things, because they're historians. They look at what was happening. So.
Yep. And that is just the tip, as he said, of the data that Jeff brought in. There are slides if there's information in an area of Dallas that you live in and you'd like to get the skinny on what's happening in the market from this perspective, let us know. Jeff, would be happy to pull this information and get it to you.
Yeah, we can narrow this down to your zip code. I mean,
To your street.
yeah, it's really a very scalable set of information. But I'm really interested to hear about what you learned this morning at the Greater East Dallas Chamber of Commerce.
That's a good transition. So what we went to today is that this was the Economic Development Report, and it was for 2019. And they started off this, and they actually brought in the city council members for this area. And so that's District 14, 10, 9, and 7. And of those four, 3 of them are brand new city council members, which I thought was really interesting. So the first one that they had was David Blewett, and he's District 14. They had Adam Magoo, which is District 10, Paula Blackman, which is District 9, and then Adam Bazulad, and I didn't get that right, and that's number 7. He's in District 7. And it was really interesting because they were posing a question, what does East Dallas need to do to continue to have its economic growth, but not outgrow itself and not to bring in more than what they're looking for? And kind of get into what they were talking about. But the number one thing that they kept talking about that they wanted was public safety. Number one was public safety. And they pointed to some of the stories that have been sensationalized and are very serious that are in today's news that have happened locally, and that can't happen over there. They don't want it to, that these are things that actually affect us on a national level when companies look and think about relocating. And I thought it was really great that they were not just talking about the dollars, that they looked at the whole health of the community. And it was very interesting to see how they got along so well, given the fact that they were so new. So I guess it's just that they haven't had time to step on each other's toes, maybe.
Honeymoon period.
It's the honeymoon, but they really were doing a great job, and it made me feel good about East Dallas. One of the other things that they talked about is creating affordable housing. Affordable housing for first-time home buyers. They all noted that there's been a dip in the number, or that was Steve Brown that noticed that there was a dip in the number of people who were trying to flip first-time homes, just because there's a little less of the profit margin in there. And so this is a good thing. If this continues, this will be an energizer for different areas of the East Dallas. They also talked about making public schools work for us. And one of the big drivers in the East Dallas area are the schools. They have some great East Dallas elementary and high schools, from Lake Highlands, some all the way into Richardson, and then back down to Lakewood. And they really understand that is at the core, after public safety, one of the drivers for why people move into the area, and they want to take care of that. And moving on, they talked about transportation and making sure that bridges, because in that area there are quite a few bridges that are taken care of. They want to make sure that there are bike lanes to allow people to commute from home to another mass transit spot, and then also work on trails. They've realized that White Rock Lake has become more of a hub, and that there are so many trails that spawn off of it. And people are really using these now, not just as facilities to exercise, but are actually using them to get from point A to point B. And we see that as we see East Dallas, the Mockingbird Bridge that connects the Katy Trail. These things have really taken on a new life, and they really want to continue that.
Yeah. There's a lot of federal funding around that, because it is something that affects the environment, because it cuts down on the number of cars that are on the road. It provides use of space that otherwise might not be used, because many times these are in abandoned rail lines, or they are in flood zones, or it's just a lot of push to use those.
Yep. And so kind of going on that way that they're talking about, they also talked about Fair Park and how important Fair Park is to Dallas.
Yeah, very much so.
And that what it can actually bring, as if it were cared for, the gravity that it could add to that area could be an environmental impact like Dallas hasn't seen in a very long time. One of the things that I thought was very interesting that I had no idea is it's 277 acres. And that seems like a huge tract of land. And I knew that it had a lot of Art Deco buildings, but they said it's the largest number of Art Deco buildings in the nation, which is another reason that they are championing take care of it, because it's such a unique feature to Dallas, and then to East Dallas, even more so.
Yeah, the connection to downtown for it is really amazing, because it is really just literally connected to Deep Ellum. And we know what's going on in Deep Ellum with all of the new, it's really become kind of a great little nightlife place. There's a couple of really nice big apartment complexes there. There's the big hotel that's being put in, a hotel apartment complex. So, this is it. Fair Park's kind of the next connector to all of that.
And I think that was the great thing to hear them talking about, because again, they're all like foreshadowing and looking ahead. But then they also want to take care of what's there. And near and dear to that entire East Dallas is going to be White Craw Lake. And so they're really talking about water quality. They do know that they need to work on that, just because from an impact environmentally, but also from economics, people will come and use, and it becomes a destination even more than it already is. They talked about working on the dams as well, and that provides jobs, that provides a need right now. And last but not least, about White Rock Lake, they want to dredge it. So
Needs it again.
really,
It's time again.
interesting. Okay. So these are all really interesting. It's a kind of a full circle economic look at what East Dallas needs. And it was exciting to hear how they were all kind of on the same page. And it was funny to hear them say, and I hope you'll support me when I bring that up in the meeting.
Right.
So we were lucky also to hear Steve Brown. Steve Brown is a local reporter for the Dallas Morning News, did a great job today, as always.
He is actually the real estate editor for the Dallas Morning News.
Apologies. He is the editor. I did see that. So if you want to follow him, he's on Twitter at Steve Brown, DMN, and that's for Dallas Morning News. Please look him up. He has great articles every day. And he really echoed a lot of what you were saying. Hyperinflation is over. The increases that we've seen in the past at 10, 20%, pretty much done. We'll be back down to the 3%. And he said that's a really good, safe place to be. And you've always said that.
Yeah, it's really, I think, kind of what's kept the health of our real estate market for so long. I mean, we even in the 2007 to 2012 recession, our real estate values didn't crumble like they did in so many other places around the country.
Well, it sounds like you were there, because he said the exact same thing. He said Southern California, Florida, and some of the other states like Seattle. He did bring up that jobs are driving the population growth here. And he made up a really interesting point, is that the job market here is not siloed. It's not just tech, or it's not just oil, which can experience ups and downs quickly, that it's broad-based, that it can have tech, and it can have oil, and it can have securities, and a whole host of things that create a more ecosystem-friendly job market.
Yeah.
And he really kept championing that about Dallas. And we see that with 80,000 people moving here a year. He also talked about apartments. And this is a shocker, is that there are 43,000 apartments being built right now. Staggering.
In the pipeline. Yeah.
In the pipeline.
Yeah, there's about that many that are delivered like every 6 months right now.
And he said we need every single one of them. And I was flabbergasted. I was like, really? He said that we only have 5%, based on the numbers that he was able to pull, there's only a 5% vacant rate in these apartments right now that have been built. He said that the investors were floored to find that almost 40% of the luxury apartments are rented by downsizers, that they are done with the big homes, they are done with the yard, they are done with the fourth and fifth bedroom, and the second, they're moving off. And it's funny, because we just brought that up in our last show. And their numbers are telling us that.
Yeah.
So I think one of the last things, and this kind of goes back to what's going to happen is in 2020 is going to be, he said nobody knows that a recession is something you see in the rearview mirror. You can't really see it in the front. He said that if everybody will turn off their radios, and for those that are millennials, turn off their phones, endure 2020, that would be the best thing ever. So it was a really great bit of information. In the comments, you're going to see the actual website for the East Dallas Chamber of Commerce, where you can go and actually get all the slides and all the information. There's also going to be a couple of hashtags that you can follow that will also be in the comments to get a more rounded perspective of what's happening in this East Dallas Chamber of Commerce.
That was great. Great information.
It was I love economic summits. I always think they're so interesting. I think they're great when the market is exciting.
Yep.
And I remember the first one I ever went to, and I sat beside Kathy Hewitt, and it was gloom and doom, and it scared me to death. So
yeah, Steve Brown's always one of those people that really tells it like it is. I mean, whether you're going to like to hear it or not, he's going to tell you what's going on, and he's going to tell you why he sees it the way he does, and it's he usually turns out to be right.
Yep. Well, we hope you found this informative. I know we ran just a few minutes over. I apologize. But we hope you've got great information and good content out of this.
Yep. And we want to thank you for tuning in today. It's been a really great show. Go out to our Facebook page. If you're not watching it live there, please like that. That'll keep you updated with what's happening. Our Instagram account is full of pictures of properties that we have for sale, things that are going on in the real estate market. UpdikePugh.com is our website. There's a lot of detailed information there about the process of buying and selling a home. And if you'd like to set up a home search there, it's really easy to do. Last of all, homeprice.fyi. If you've got a piece of property you want to get a value on, go out there and put the address in, give a couple of pieces of information, and you will instantly have a value on your home. Last of all, reach out to us by phone, 214-377-2223. We would love to hear from you.
And remember, we want to be your realtors for life.